What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. More Manchester United news. It never stops, whether we're here in the UK, where the Flex and KG are all the way across the Atlantic stateside. Easy for me to say, stateside. Easy for me to say. There's always more news, and indeed there is more news right now because Bruno Fernandes officially has been named the Manchester United captain. Shock! I'm shocked. I couldn't believe it myself when I saw it. No, the worst kept secret in football has now been officially unveiled as Bruno Fernandes is named as the replacement for Harry Maguire to be the Manchester United captain. We've got plenty to get into as well over the next, I don't know how long we're going to be live for. Maybe it's going to be just 30 minutes. Maybe it's going to be 45 minutes. Maybe it's going to be an hour. However long it is, we've got plenty to discuss. We're going to be talking about Bruno Fernandes, as I mentioned, being named the new Manchester United captain. We're going to be getting some comments from Bruno Fernandes himself, possibly Erik ten Hag. We're going to be talking a little bit about Rasmus Hojlund as well, an impromptu transfer news update as well, because United are preparing that first bid for the Atalanta striker, because PSG like Jaws are creeping up. They're interested in Rasmus Hojlund, so Manchester United want to act quick now that Andre Onana is seemingly done. Speaking of Andre Onana too, he's also, a bit like Flex and KG was the other day, on his way to the United States to join up with his new teammates. We're awaiting an announcement from Manchester United to confirm his transfer from Inter Milan. So there's plenty to get into right now over the next however long we're live. I can see loads of people in the chat already. Just Kevin says, "Oh, and what's going on, bro?" Suleiman says, live at the Asylum. No, Suleiman. No. The Asylum is where we have all of the match views throughout pre-season. The Asylum with the inmates, the O-mates in the Asylum. Just Kevin says, give us a yeah. I can really early on as well and say, yeah. Come on. Who is the vice captain? Mingo says, we're going to get into all of it. We're going to get into all of it over the next however long we're live. Let's get straight into this. Bruno Fernandes, the brand new Manchester United captain. It was announced about 20 minutes ago at the time of recording this. Live, we're live, Owen. At the time of going live, that Bruno Fernandes has been named as the new club captain of Manchester United. This is an official statement from the club. They say, quote, the Portuguese midfielder has already worn the armband for United on numerous occasions, and Erik ten Hag has confirmed that he will now lead the team on a permanent basis. Fernandes has scored 64 goals and contributed 54 assists in just 185 games for the club since joining in 2020. As captain, the two-time Sir Matt Busby Player of the Year will continue to drive the highest standards throughout the squad as United push for success in the 2023-2024 season and beyond. So as of right now, from what I can see, no actual quotes from Bruno Fernandes himself, but as is always the case, once we're live, we can react to stuff that's coming out in real time as well. Again, it's not much of a surprise at all because Bruno Fernandes was already basically the captain, wasn't he? He was the captain last season. Yes, Harry Maguire was, as Erik ten Hag said himself, the established captain. We all really knew who the club captain was. It was Bruno Fernandes, captain the side throughout the majority of last season. It was almost awkward at points, wasn't it? For instance, when we won the Carabao Cup, what's going to happen with the captain situation? Of course, eventually it was Harry Maguire and Bruno Fernandes that lifted the trophy because Maguire was this figure that, yes, technically he was the established club captain, but really the person who had driven us on the pitch to that victory from the captain's point of view was Bruno Fernandes. Now, according to Samuel Lutkers from the Manchester Evening News, sources say that Fernandes has, quote, inspirational qualities on the pitch and in the dressing room. Ten Hag values Fernandes' in-game intelligence and communication skills. Figures at United say Fernandes has stood out as a leader since he joined the club in January 2020. On his first day at Carrington, he requested to head out onto the pitch once he had signed his paperwork and posed for unveiling shots so he could be as well prepared as possible. Although Fernandes is now officially recognised as United's captain, figures at the club have stressed that several leaders remain in the squad. Varane, Casemiro, Rashford, Heaton and Shaw all form a leadership group that Ten Hag consults and expects them to support Bruno. Again, you look at his stats since he arrived. Let's just go over those stats since he arrived back in 2020. 64 goals and 54 assists in just 185 games is absolutely staggering as well, isn't it, from Bruno Fernandes? Now, again, Bruno, I think well, actually, no, I'll put a poll. I can't speak for everyone, and I never will try and speak for everyone because I don't speak for the fan base or anything like that. The question will be put into the poll. Are you happy with Bruno Fernandes as the Manchester United captain? Poll is In the chat, yes, the poll is officially in the chat. You can get your votes in. Are you happy with Bruno Fernandes as the Manchester United captain? If I was going to be voting on that myself, I would say yes. I am very happy that Bruno Fernandes is the Manchester United captain. Obviously, as we just spoke about there, and as those reports are mentioning, there is a myriad of other leaders at the club, and I think that's positive. I think that's good, because in times gone past, for instance, when Harry Maguire first received the captain's armband, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it was almost because there was no one else around that was suited to it at the time. Now, there could have been a legitimate argument about, oh, you know, if not Bruno, then it could go to Rafael Varane, it could go to Lisandro Martinez, it could go to Casemiro, it could go to Luke Shaw, it could go to Marcus Rashford. I mean, there are plenty of high-profile, leader-like figures in the team, which is what you need to be successful in football. So I think that's a positive when it comes to the squad. But it was a given. If Bruno Fernandes was not named as the Manchester United captain, I said to Flex, almost half jokingly, but it's true, isn't it? He'd be questioning his future at Man United if he didn't get it. He'd say, wait a minute, I captained the side all last season. What do you mean I'm not going to be getting it? So for me, again, it was a no-brainer. It's not too much of a surprise. It's an honour. It's a big honour. Follows in the footsteps of several high-profile, big leaders. You know, not every captain is the best captain of all time, and you have to put your own spin on it, and you have to have your own leadership style. When it comes to the players, if you're a vocal leader, if you're a leader or a captain in terms of how you play. But Bruno Fernandes is certainly a vocal leader, and certainly he cares. Now, obviously, is Bruno Fernandes the perfect captain, and would people want him to maybe change his personality a little bit? Sure. Does Bruno Fernandes moan quite a lot? Yes. Does Bruno Fernandes whinge quite a lot? Yes. Does Bruno Fernandes go up to referees and get in their faces all the time? Yes. Does it help that he's the captain when it comes to that? Yes. But I don't want to change him. As I've said before, yes, in an ideal world, I wouldn't have Bruno Fernandes being as much of a moaner and a whinger as he is on the pitch. But the way I look at it is that is someone that just wants to win. That's all he cares about. All he cares about is winning at all costs. And I think that's good, because you need that in football when it's cutthroat. Everyone needs a bastard. Everyone needs that bastard. He's our bastard. He's our whinger. He's our moaner. And I don't want to change his personality. I want to be a team full of whingers, full of moaners. Man United, particularly in those Fergie years, sirens are going off again. Sirens in the chat, of course. Come on, you've got to get the sirens in the chat. Much better. Man United, historically, through particularly the Fergie era of the 90s, there are pictures that are famous for United surrounding referees and hounding referees, whether it was Roy Keane, Gary Neville, Steve Bruce, David Beckham, Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes. That's what they all did. I mean, United, again, were famous for it. Sir Alex Ferguson, at about 60 minutes, used to stand on the touchline and keep going like this and tapping his watch, because he knew the fourth official would tell the referee and they'd add on more time. So we can't be like now, oh, we hate a moaner. Don't we hate a moaner? We're built upon moaning. We're built on that. We're built upon moaning, and we're built upon winning. And that's what Bruno Fernandes wants to do. Yes, he wants to win at all costs. And yes, sometimes it's not a, particularly when you're losing or you're not playing particularly well, and he misplaces a pass and then he moans at the player for not getting it. You go, come on, Bruno, that's on you. That's on you, and you need to be holding yourself more accountable. But as I said, I don't want to change him. And Bruno even said it himself when he did an interview. He said, yeah, I know that I go too far sometimes, and I try not to, but that's how I play. I play on a knife edge. I play right on the periphery of maybe going too far at points, but it's because I care. And it's because I want to win. That's all he cares about, is winning. So, again, I'm happy with the news. I think clearly, I'm stating the obvious here. I hope everyone's sitting down when I say this, because, maybe unpopular point, maybe hot take coming from Owen here. Bruno Fernandes is more suited to be the Manchester United captain than Harry Maguire. I know. I'm cancelled. Get rid of me. Yeah, I know. This is my last day at United view with that kind of reckless comment. I mean, where's the judge when you need him? Where's the judge?
Fucking reckless! That's fucking reckless!
I know, yes, I know. But Bruno Fernandes is far more suited to this position than Harry Maguire, isn't he? Certainly. I think what's also quite interesting as well is when those reports were talking about those leadership groups there, of the likes of Rafael Varane, Casemiro, Luke Shaw, Tom Heaton was involved in that leadership group there. No mention of Harry Maguire there. And it's going to be really interesting to see if Maguire feels like he can, drop down that pecking order. And preaching to the converted here, I know, but it's over, Harry, if you're watching. It's done. It's over. Secure yourself a move. But as Flex and KG said earlier today in their video in Times Square, New York, terrible accent, that just because he's travelled out with them to the United States doesn't necessarily mean that he's not going to be going anywhere. He's not going to be going anywhere in the summer because lots of people, Dean Henderson's on the tour, Anthony Elanga's on the tour, so Harry Maguire could fall into that category of players that's on the tour, but still eventually gets sold as well. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. As I mentioned, the poll's already in there, and it's a landslide. It's a landslide of all landslides. Only 5 minutes in, nearly 400 votes. The question was, are you happy with Bruno Fernandes as the Manchester United captain? Now over 400 votes. 94% of you say yes. Only 6% say no, which, to be honest, actually is higher than I thought, just because I know there are some people that are very vehemently against Bruno Fernandes being the captain, or they don't like his whinging, or they don't like his moaning. But I think even his harshest critics, I think, would say, yes, he moans a lot, but I don't think they could critique his desire to win. I don't think they could critique that. And certainly, again, that's one thing you've got to say. And you also do have to take a step back and look at what he has done over his sort of 3-year period here, or over 3 years now. It came in January 2020, right before the pandemic. And you can't overstate enough, if you cast your mind back to that period, United was shit. United were rubbish under Ollie. And we almost got fortunate of the break when it happened in football, because Bruno had already started to kind of turn things around. The last home game we played before the pandemic shut everything down was the City game at home, which he was heavily involved in. Of course, he was brilliant then. And then throughout the time of playing in the empty stadiums, he was a massive catalyst to us getting the top 4 when we played Leicester on the last day, and then also when we played that for the full season in the empty arenas and we came second. Bruno Fernandes was a massive part of that. He absolutely was. And again, his numbers are incredible since he came in over 3 years ago. And as I saw someone say in the chat earlier on, he played the most football, I think, out of anyone in Europe last year. He barely missed a game. And we talk about vice captains, and we talk about who is going to be the vice captain. And I suppose it does matter from a status point of view. Rafael Varane has captained the side in the first 2 pre-season fixtures amid Bruno's absence and a lot of the other international players' absence. But it really doesn't matter who's the vice captain, because very, very rarely are they actually going to be wearing that armband. Unless Bruno gets suspended or Bruno comes off during a game in the 85th minute or something like that, the chances are they won't be wearing it, because Bruno's... Again, this guy doesn't miss games. There was even the stat of when we were concerned he was going to miss a game through injury, which was the Spurs game away. And there was the picture there of his foot laid up in the boot, and he was getting the compression on it and all that kind of stuff. And there was, is he going to play? Is he going to be available? And of course he played. There was some wild stat that he hasn't missed a game in his career or something like that through injury. It's only been through illness and suspension. That's nuts. That's crazy in terms of level of consistency and level of, again, determination to play. There is no hiding away from this guy. There is no, I'm going to duck interviews, I'm going to duck the media, I'm going to duck my responsibilities. This is a guy, for better or for worse, whether he scores penalties or misses them, whether he plays well or doesn't play well, he is there every single week, every single game, stands up, wants to win, whether we're good, whether we're shit, whether we're indifferent, whether he's playing well and everyone else is playing rubbish, or everyone else is playing well and he's playing rubbish, which there have been instances of that. He is always there. And that's what you look for from a leader. And I think it's clear to see that he has strong leadership qualities. And I don't think, again, you have to be a special kind of leader as well to have the squad that we currently have filled with leaders and filled with people that actually have achieved things. There are people in that squad that have achieved serious stuff, whether it's Varane and Casemiro of Champions Leagues, whether it's Lisandro Martinez is of World Cups and all that kind of stuff, and they look at Bruno as a leadership figure. And maybe that wasn't the case in the past, and you've got Harry Maguire coming up to you and trying to tell you to do stuff, and you go, all right, Harry. They're not going to say that when it comes to Bruno Fernandes as well. So again, I think this is a good move for United. It's an obvious move for Man United as well, and another reason I like it too is because the opposition fans will come in, and I don't even know if they've come in yet. They might have, but the opposition fans will be like, Bruno Fernandes is your captain, that miserable rat, that miserable this, that miserable that, that's your whinger, that's your captain. Well, could never be my captain, could never be this, could never be that. And I find it funny, Liverpool fans say that when they worship Luis Suarez. Oh, yeah. Because you've never had anyone like that at your club. Get out of it, man. But again, I like that. I like that he annoys people. It's like when Ander Herrera was at the club. I like that he pisses people off. I like that he's a shithouse. I like that people can't stand him when they look at him. Because, again, he's our bastard. That's what you need as well. So, again, I'm very happy when it comes to that. We've got over 1,000 people watching, so if you haven't already, click the like button. Let's get to some super chats and some membership chats as well. Johan says, I think we made the correct move to make Maguire the captain at the time. I think moving it to Bruno is also the correct move. And I think you do make a good point when it comes to Harry Maguire, because when he did get the captaincy, it's very easy to say in hindsight that it was the wrong move or anything like that. It's very easy to say that, isn't it? Hindsight's a wonderful thing. But at the time, you're right, I think the intention was that there wasn't a lot of leaders in that team, and they were looking at Maguire as this, he'd just come in, and he was this £80 million defender, and he was going to be this big leadership style, Steve Bruce style figure at the back. And not only was he ill-equipped and ill-suited to be the Manchester United captain, he was ill-equipped and ill-suited to be a Manchester United player as well. And the scrutiny and the pressure and all of it, he couldn't handle any of it. He could handle none of it. And it didn't work out, and I agree with you. I think it's the right move by Erik ten Hag. And also, I think he's handled this entire process, Ten Hag, in terms of the timeline. I think he's handled that really well too, because he could have come in and done this time last year, and maybe that would have been, we'd have sped up the process a little bit. But realistically, and this is where sometimes football can get a bit political, is he came in at the time and said, I remember he was asked on the tour. It was the first press conference of the tour in Thailand, in Bangkok. And he was asked about Maguire. And he said at the time, I've been with these players for a couple of weeks. I'm not in the position to judge whether Harry Maguire's, should be the Manchester United captain or not. Of course, I've got my opinions and my theories. I've been watching from afar, but I haven't been working with the players day in, day out. I don't know them very well on a personal level yet. And also, he's probably thinking, I don't want to rock the boat too much. I'm just through the door. I'm just getting my feet under the table. I'm also just trying to sort of display my authority, not only to the players, but the people above him as well. Your Richard Arnold, your John Murtos, the owners at the time. Sometimes you don't want to, again, you've got to be really calculated. It's about timing in football when it comes to big decisions. And right then, with the chaos that had come from the season that we had under Ollie and into Ralph Rangnick, maybe it wasn't the right time right then to be making that big decision when, again, you don't know the players that well. You don't know the people that well. Now, very quickly, he figured it out that Maguire wasn't the guy and wasn't the right person to be the captain, but just give it to Bruno for the rest of the season. I'm not going to make that decision officially because, again, we've got to be focused on the games. We've got to be focused on winning. We've got to be focused on winning trophies. And it's not the right time to maybe have such a sideshow and a distraction, considering there were plenty of other sideshows and distractions last season too. Now's the right time to do it. Now's the right time to... Maguire came back from his post-season break. One of the first things he did was sit down with Ten Hag. Ten Hag said, I'm going in a different direction when it comes to the captaincy. Tough shit. And gives it to Bruno just before we start our pre-season tour, because now the issue's settled. It's one less thing to worry about. Everyone knows Bruno's the captain anyway. Now, again, it's focusing on football. It's focusing on results. It's focusing on tactics. It's focusing on how can we be as successful as possible when it comes to the games ahead and the season ahead. And I think the timing and the way that he's managed that has been really effective, because it would be very easy just to have come in last season and go, I've seen Maguire, I've seen the leadership, take the armband off. But he also realised I'm probably not going to be able to shift Maguire this summer. And again, I don't know the dynamics of the dressing room that well at this point to make that kind of decision. So I think he was right to, when, again, now he has far more authority. He has a lot more respect, I would think. And he knows the players personally. Jadine with the super chat says, hopefully, agree. I don't know why I said hopefully. Agree with him being captain. Still have mixed feelings on his play style, though. Hopefully, that's the hopefully I saw. Ten Hag can get more out of him next season. Fernando has been a member for 11 months, nearly a full year of support. Appreciate you, Fernando. Says, Owen, do you suspect that KG and Fleck may be partaking in the passing of spliffs? It's legal in NYC. Love the channel. Big up from Maryland, USA. I tell you what, Fernando, is I didn't read the whole message before I clicked it. I didn't do that, and that's my fault. I don't know. Probably not. I don't want to... I'm moving on. Alapino says, any details on linking up with the UV crew in New York or New Jersey? Yes, it's just gone on our social. So I actually just had a conversation with Flex about this because we've been inundated with a million different messages, DMs, emails, tweets, comments, super chats, you named it, about people meeting up with Flex and KG and Josh whilst they're out there, wherever they are in the United States, whether it's New York, New Jersey, Vegas, Texas, California, wherever. We've got so many messages, and we do want to meet up with as many of you as possible, and we do want to interact with you and chat with you, because you guys are truly the lifeblood of this channel. So the plan is basically keep your eye on the socials. There's a story that's just gone up now on United View's Instagram account about an event that's going on tonight in New York that Flex, KG and Josh are going to be at. I think they're going to be at a couple more events over the next few days. Stay tuned to the socials. Obviously, when I get more confirmation on them in these kind of shows on the day of the event, I'll let you know. So for instance, if I just double check this one now that I was just sent, this is the one today. So the one today is a night with Manchester United legend Wes Brown. It's actually hosted by Andy Mitten. Big up Andy Mitten. And it's in Smithfield Hall, which is 138 West 25th Street, which is in New York. So there you go. But all the information is on our socials. All the information is on Instagram, Twitter, you name it. So we're going to be just posting them, and I'm going to be plugging them during the show. So if you are in the area and you do want to meet up with Flex and KG, and Josh, those are the places to do it. But glad you asked, because again, we've been getting so many of them, and we've wanted to sort of respond to people individually, but it's easier, I think, to do it in a blanket way, certainly, isn't it? And of course, they're going to be at the games, and if you just keep your eye on the socials too, you'll see where they are at the games and the stadiums, and I'm sure you can chat to them afterwards and all that kind of stuff too. So it's going to be a really busy and fun few weeks. I'm not even there, and I'm very excited about seeing what happens. Speaking of which, actually, before we go back to Bruno Fernandes, and before we talk about Rasmus Hojlund and Andre Onana as well, I might as well say this now, actually, because this is just... it's a good segue talking about the stuff in the United States. I've got to shout out Josh, because you're going to be seeing a lot of this over the next few weeks. Now, you know us here at United View. We love a custom intro. We love a modified intro. We've got our classic theme song, but we've got special ones. We've had special ones for the Christmas holidays. We've had special ones for Halloween. We've had special ones for Australia, Thailand, you name it. And it hasn't changed this time around now that they're in New York. And here's a closer look at Flex and KG when they crashed Times Square in New York City.
Check this out. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. We're hitting the big apple in times.
The Appling fam in
To the core. To the core.
concrete jungle where drinks and made. Gotta be little mama and walk on the stage.
New York. I got a I'm from New York.
Hey, hold on. It's time for you. That's the original.
That is the original.
Have you got
That is
another
the
New York?
original.
You ain't got another New York song.
Ooh.
You ain't got another New York song, bro. You need to be ready.
I haven't got one in the bank.
Sorry, bro. It's cool.
Gangs in New York.
Go on.
It's just no, it's just not a song. It's just
It's
a thing.
a movie.
Yeah.
Bro, we're here.
Times Square,
We're in
bro.
big New York.
Big
Big fam.
apple.
Apple, fam. I'm feeling kind of Apple right now. I'm feeling that's the 24-hour thing.
Bro, wait there. Nah, do you know what?
Go on.
You're good at making me do this, yeah?
Yeah.
Big New York.
Big New York.
We really are out here doing this.
United
like,
View.
living
This
the
is
dream.
ridiculous.
Yeah, like, you know,
Right
like,
now.
you know when you said, don't normalize this flex.
Yeah.
Pissing down rain and you're like, bro, even though the game's a bit dry, don't normalize this.
This is,
5 days later, Big Apple.
and you know what? So you've got to shout out to the community because
100%.
without the community, I don't think this happens.
100%.
Let's be real.
So that's what we do want to start with. Every single one of you watching from around the world, especially here in the States, you guys literally allow us to do this. So we are literally, we don't often say it because we're in it. But we're literally living a dream every single day.
Every day,
We're
fam.
literally
I
living a
can't
dream.
believe it.
Big up Flex and KG. Yes, I wanted to share with you that little intro, share with you that thank you message because I can only echo it. Thank you. The reason that they are there, the reason we are able to do any of this is because of you. And stay tuned because all of those vlogs, all of those reactions, and all of the fun tour stuff that you know us for is coming. It's on the way. That was just a taster, a teaser. The full video is out on the channel right now. We're going to be getting reaction probably today from Flex and KG as well as about the big news. Bruno Fernandes named the Manchester United captain. Hojlund when Andre Onana is announced as well. So again, it's amazing stuff. It really is. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Well, I get this a lot. I get this a lot saying, "Oh, and are you gutted you are not there with the guys in the US, or are you happy you're staying at home?" If you know me, right? If you know me, I am the worst traveler in the world. I'm just one of those. I whinge and moan about everything that involves me leaving my house. So I much prefer to be here, holding down the fort, chatting with you guys in the asylum. That's me. That is literally me. That is my personality, and I'm being 100% honest with you when it comes to that. So yeah, big up you for asking though. What else are people saying in the chat as well? Lots of people saying the intro was unbelievable. Yes, Amanor says, I love Josh in the intro. Vegeta says, Josh the Magician, super talented, my guy. Yes, it indeed was amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I hadn't actually seen it. I legitimately, until it premiered live, I hadn't seen that intro. And he never fails to amaze Josh with his intros. They're absolutely incredible. My personal favorite is still the Halloween one, just because I think it was just funny, and also because there's quite a few different Easter eggs in the Halloween one. If you go back and watch it, it's so good. Like, there's a couple of Easter eggs that I don't even think people even noticed. It's awesome. So yes, that is the latest news when it comes to the new captain. Bruno Fernandes is replacing Harry Maguire officially as the Manchester United captain. Man United have released the statement. Again, if I could read it very quickly, just saying that Bruno Fernandes has been named the new club captain of Manchester United, and just talking about how he's already worn the armband on several occasions, but now he's going to wear it on a permanent and official basis. I guess beginning with the game against Arsenal in MetLife Stadium in New Jersey on Saturday, which of course we'll be covering here on the channel as well. Now let's talk a little bit about Rasmus Hojlund and this first bid coming in soon. Now I know you might be saying, oh, and hasn't a first bid gone in like a million times? Well, your guess is as good as mine. Yes, personal terms have been agreed since May for the Danish striker. Yes, Manchester United have been in conversations with Atalanta for a long period of time about possibly exchanging players. Do we have to pay £86 million? Atalanta, that's what they wanted, but they don't really want that. It was just a negotiating position. Well, according to Fabrizio Romano this afternoon, he understands that Manchester United will send the opening official proposal to Atalanta for Rasmus Hojlund soon. Now, the reason why they've sped up this process, not only because the first two transfers of the window have been completed in Mason Mount and Andre Onana, the announcement is imminent when it comes to that one, but also the reason why they're speeding up this process is because Manchester United want to avoid a hijack or any hijack from Paris Saint-Germain, as PSG keeps speaking to the players' camp. This isn't the first time that Romano has said that PSG are interested in signing Rasmus Hojlund. Hojlund prefers the Manchester United move. Hojlund wants the Manchester United move. He has agreed terms with Manchester United, as Romano stated several days ago. It's just a case now of Manchester United trying to find the right place when it comes to the fee for the player. As I mentioned, the quoted fees have kind of been all over the place. It's like, as I mentioned, £86 million, but then sometimes they say they'd accept 60 million euros, which is in sort of the £50 million region, which is what I think he'll end up being. The thing that I would say with this, You could argue, is this just a case of Atalanta using PSG for leverage? Is this just a case of Rasmus Hojlund's representatives using PSG for leverage to speed up the deal? Maybe, possibly from the Atalanta point of view, Rasmus Hojlund really, really wants to move. He's got the same agency as Erik ten Hag, and reportedly that's why it's been so easy for Hojlund to agree his personal terms with the club. And even reports from Italy over the last sort of day or so had suggested that Hojlund's actually gone to Atalanta. Now the CEO and all of the sort of directors at the club to state, I want this move, make the move happen. United are willing to pay good money. I've already agreed personal terms, make the move happen. But there is, again, a feeling that United are in pole position. The only issue I would have is that you do worry, don't you, about PSG, that they can get transfers done far quicker than Manchester United can. And maybe with the PSG swimming around, I referenced Jaws earlier, but like the Great White swimming around, maybe United don't do their usual transfer process when it comes to Hojlund, which is 3 bids and the final bid is the one that is accepted. And even on the final bid, they then take like 10 days for negotiations to complete between the two parties, which is what they did with Chelsea and Mason Mount and what they did with Inter Milan when it came to Andre Onana. Maybe that first proposal is much closer to sort of the final destination than would previously be the case, because we saw with the Mason Mount bid, that first bid was way off what Chelsea wanted, and it was the same with the Inter Milan bid. The first bid for Andre Onana was quite far off what Inter wanted, and eventually both sides sort of made their way to the middle, and Man United got the player. Maybe with PSG just sort of circling a little bit, maybe United speed up the process. Maybe, and to be honest, United need to speed up the process anyway, to be honest, because Flex and KG touched on this in the tour kickoff video. We're into this tour now. It begins on Saturday against Arsenal, and we don't have a striker. Marcus Rashford most likely is going to play up front. Anthony Martial has been included with the squad. We don't know his fitness levels right now. We don't. And we don't know what part, if any, he's going to play in the tour. I mean, he couldn't play in those first 2 friendly matches against Leeds and Lyon because of his hamstring issue. That's still a hangover from the end of the season, why he didn't play in the FA Cup final as well. So we don't know his status at the moment. And just going into the season, we can't, it's very obvious. Again, I did a hot take earlier saying that Bruno Fernandes was more suited to being the Man United captain than Harry Maguire. Another hot take here, we can't rely on Anthony Martial to be fit for a whole season. So because of that, we need to get a striker. We need to get a Rasmus Hojlund. The striker market isn't particularly strong this year, but Ten Hag, Romano said, and other people said earlier on, loves the player. He loves the player, and he desperately wants him. So, you know, United need to get it done. Am I worried about PSG or a hijack or anything like that? Not really. No, I'm not too worried about it. Again, because there's been such strong interest from the player side, so I'm not too concerned about PSG, but if I see a report stating that PSG has put a bid in and Atalanta have accepted the bid, then Man United are in a bit of trouble, because they'll have to match that bid, whether they like it or not. And United, they've got a figure in mind, or they've certainly got a limit that they're willing to go to, or there's a limit probably for United that they actually 100%, that's as far as they can go from an FFP point of view. And if PSG eclipse that, then United might be in a bit of trouble. So maybe that's also why United might start thinking, hey, maybe we need to speed this up a little bit, because PSG could blow us out the water. And if they do, then maybe we don't get Rasmus Hojlund, despite the fact he wants to come to United. And we've already agreed personal terms with him. We can't really afford to drag our heels here, drag our feet. And I'm sure that Ten Hag's constantly, pointing, nudging John Murta is, what's going on with Hojlund? What's going on with Hojlund? Like he's been doing, what's going on with Mason Mount? What's going on with Mason Mount? I'll be done in a couple of days. What's going on with Mason Mount? Mason Mount, it's done. What's going on with Andre Onana? What's going on with Andre Onana? Fuck off, Eric. No. What's going on with Andre Onana? He's flying to the States right now. Cool. What's going on with Rasmus Hojlund? What are you going to get Rasmus Hojlund? We're going to put the first bid in soon. Hurry up. PSG are putting in a bid in. That's like, that's what he's like. He is such a details man, and he wants everything done now. That's what he wants. Have you seen how many preseason games we've got? It's because he doesn't leave anything down to chance. And this is what he probably hates with transfers as well, the fact that they take too long, because they still take long. I know we're kind of on par and we're kind of on the pace with the rest of the market at the moment with getting these deals done. But at the same time, he'll be looking, for instance, at Arsenal when we're playing them on Saturday, and he'll look at them and say, they've got Havertz, they've got Timber, and they've got Rice. They've got 3. Why don't we have 3? Why don't we have free at this point? And they might be like, yeah, but Eric, they've got more money to spend in this December. I don't care. Why have they got free? We should have free. And look, there is still a chance that Rasmus Hojlund could join the club on tour. A bit like Flex and KG mentioned. It was KG actually that said this, and it was a really good point. In the same vein that you've got these people on the tour that we're expecting to leave, Henderson, Fred, Donny, Alanga, maybe Maguire. Just because they're on the tour of us, that doesn't mean a transfer can't be completed. There are several other Premier League clubs in the United States, and the travel isn't as bad as it was when we were in Australia. And it's like, well, you're kind of stuck out here. You know, you're not going to make the quick trip back from Australia to the UK and then come back or anything like that. Whereas with the US, if Hojlund gets agreed, he'll fly out. If Harry Maguire, something comes in for him, or the Henderson deal gets near enough done, he'll fly back to the UK. It won't be a big drama. So you can't rule out Hojlund eventually maybe joining them later on the tour, but given the fact it's across, like 14 days or something like that, it does feel like maybe Hojlund might... if he does join United, maybe he'd join up with us after the tour, and maybe those games in Old Trafford and Dublin, respectively. But again, the first bid, that's the news this afternoon. The first bid for Rasmus Hojlund, or the opening proposal, official proposal to Atalanta, is being prepared by Manchester United and should be going in very soon, according to Fabrizio Romano. I suppose the key things involved in that is that it's an official proposal. Whereas unlike before, it'd been maybe a bit more informal. Hey, would you be interested in taking this player? And we give you a bit of cash and we get Hojlund. Is that what you're interested in? Blah, blah, blah. And then they said, no, this is what we want. We want cash. We want this amount. And Man United put an official bid. So that's the latest when it comes to Rasmus Hojlund. But watch this space, because certainly that's going to be the next one that United are looking for. I know there was also some discussion about Amrabat today. Reports from Italy suggesting that he'd been given some extra time off from Fiorentina amid all of the interest from Manchester United and other clubs, but he'd been given some extra time off because his head wasn't completely clear and things of that nature. Again, don't know how credible that is. There were also maybe more or less credible reports suggesting that a bid was imminent. That word again, imminent. That bloody word again, imminent for Amrabat. I don't know if a bid's imminent. I think if anything's imminent... Well, the one thing that is actually imminent in the true definition of the word is Andre Onana being announced as a Manchester United player. Legitimately, that is imminent. That is coming either later today or very early tomorrow, considering they want to have him ready to play at the weekend. He is either on his way to the United States right now, or he may have touched down in the United States already. Looks like all of the visa issues and all that kind of stuff have been sorted. I think the only thing they're waiting on when it comes to an official announcement is for him to actually meet up with Erik ten Hag, because they'll probably want to have, you know, all of those pictures of him meeting up with the manager, signing the contract, you know, shaking the hands, the Ajax reunion, all that kind of stuff. They'll probably want that. I'm sure a lot of it they've probably already done in Manchester. They probably already did it in Carrington when he had his medical yesterday and he signed his contract yesterday. They're probably just waiting for those final touches. But I guess over now, he has signed a contract. He's a Manchester United player. It's just not been announced at this point. So that announcement legitimately is imminent. The other things, Hojlund or Amrabat, certainly less imminent, but bids are coming. Let's see how many likes we've got. We've got nearly 1,200 people watching. If you haven't already, click that like button. We're nearly at 300 likes. You can see top right-hand corner is the current subscriber count with 144,000 with 1,000. We've got 1,000. We've gone all the way down. 144,585 subscribers. So let's see if we can get to 144,600. Oh, would it be incredible, wouldn't it? 15 more to go. Quick maths. My brain's not completely fried just yet, even though it's early pre-season. Transfer season is driving me firmly into the ground, along with takeover stuff. Oh, my goodness me. It's crazy. Let's see if we're caught up when it comes to Super Chats as well. Yes, we are indeed. So let's move on, as I mentioned, to Andre Onana. I was basically talking about him anyway, but the latest news when it comes to Manchester United's new number one. I mean, we've got to start talking about him as he is a Man United player, because he is, as I mentioned, on his way to the United States as we speak. He has signed his Manchester United contract. He has... put pen to paper. He has completed his medical, and now it's just a case of him meeting up with his new manager, or reuniting with his old manager, depending on how you want to look at it, and meeting up with his new teammates and making everything official in terms of an announcement. But now, given the fact that he's flying out today, I would think I would think that means he probably is going to play some form of a role Saturday against Arsenal. He's not going to play a full 90 minutes anyway because nobody is. Everyone's going to play 45. He might not start. He might play maybe the second half or something like that. Maybe he won't be involved at all. Maybe they won't want to risk it. Maybe they'll say, look, he flew in Thursday. He only really had a day. Jet lag. It's a bit tight. It's a bit close. We don't want to risk him. It's about building up his fitness. He did participate in pre-season training for Inter Milan. I think maybe their first day. So whilst he hasn't been doing all of the training that everyone else has been, and he might be a little bit behind, who knows? I mean, the thing is as well, it's a big game. I know it's only pre-season, but the first game of the pre-season tour against a team like Arsenal, big followed sides, big fan bases, there's a lot of excitement anyway, particularly to see new players start and the beginning of new seasons and the way your team's lining up. And you want people like Andre Onana to be involved because it is really going to be a glimpse of how Manchester United are going to be playing and lining up going into the upcoming season. And it's a bit different. I'll even hold my hands up here as well. It's a bit different with a goalkeeper too. It's not like he's a midfield player and you're worried about his engine. Oh, he just haven't really done any training, so it's going to be difficult for him to get around the pitch. It is different than that. But if you're not prepared, then you're also not prepared as well. But it's going to be really interesting. Either way, if he doesn't play the Arsenal game, he'll definitely be playing against Real Madrid in Texas, because I think that's what it goes. I think it goes Arsenal, Wrexham, then Real Madrid, then Dortmund, I think, unless I'm wrong about that. But you can let me know about that in the live chat if I'm wrong about that. So, yes, he's on his way out to the US right now, and we're just waiting upon that announcement. Of course, once we do get that announcement, I'll be here. I'll be here. I'll be live. I'll be chatting to you guys about all of the quotes, all of the fallout, all of the reaction, and hopefully maybe some information as to how involved he's going to be against Arsenal at the weekend. I really hope he is. And again, I am really looking forward to that game, just because, obviously we'll see Mason Mount play alongside the international players. It'll be the first time seeing those international players back since the FA Cup final. It's a really good test playing against an Arsenal side that's basically full strength, right? They've got all of their new signings. They've got all of their people ready to go. And yeah, it's going to be fun. And I'm just really looking forward to it because obviously I'm going to be doing all of these match views remotely with you guys in the Asylum late at night. That one is actually one of the earlier ones. That one's a 10 p.m. British summertime kickoff, 10 p.m. over here in the UK. And then the rest, they get sort of progressively, I think, later. They're like 1:30 in the morning. I think one's like 3:30 in the morning. The next morning, there's one game, that Wrexham game, and then the Real Madrid game. They're back-to-back. So we'll be live in the Asylum, back-to-back late nights in the Asylum. Probably actually a fitting name because it's probably enough. That lack of sleep is probably enough to sort of send you into some form of a psychosis. So even if you don't even want to listen to the commentary, you just want to watch, the bags under my eyes get progressively bigger. That might be just fun throughout the preseason as well. So, yes, that's going to be a lot of fun. And again, I'm really looking forward to it too. Let's see what else you guys are saying in the chat before I wrap things up. John James says, smash those likes, peeps, and subscribe. Indeed. What else we got? Vegeta says, what's my name? Suleiman says, Onana. Art says, take a vacation, Owen. This is the thing also. I hate going on holiday. Because again, I hate holidays and I hate travel. I don't know. I never know what to do with myself as well. I get bored really, really quickly. I have to always be doing something. I'm very particular, very, very particular when it comes to all that kind of stuff. And again, that is not putting up for the camera. That is legitimately true as well. But there you go, guys. As I mentioned, be sure to smash the like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Let me just double check. Actually, I didn't miss any super chats. I don't think I did. No, I didn't. That's cool. I didn't want to miss anyone out. Anyway, guys, as I mentioned, stay tuned because more content is on the horizon, particularly now that we're across 2 time zones. So if you haven't already, subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. You don't want to miss a thing. I'm out of here. Peace.